Hey guys, it's your best boxing friends. I'm Kelsey. This is Rachel. Canelo Alvarez defeated Danny Jacobs by a close decision on Saturday night at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Not on Las Vegas, in Las Vegas. It was shown live on DAZN. We call it DAZN in our home. So it was the first time a big pay-per-view type event was technically not on pay-per-view, but I felt everything was basically the same. Maybe different people calling the fight or whatever.
Yeah. The one thing was different is when I woke up Sunday morning, I realized I was really glad I didn't pay $70 for that fight.
After the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the fight itself, I was impressed with Canelo Alvarez, especially during the first 6 rounds of the fight. It reminded me of when he fought Gennady Golovkin for the second time. Really just comes out of the gate strong, and then in the second half of the fight, it's like he builds a lead and then just does enough to win the fight, which reminds me a little bit of Floyd Mayweather in a way, in the way that Floyd would kind of coast in fights where you thought he could put people away. I'm not sure if Canelo Alvarez could have put Daniel Jacobs away. It was a really highly technically skilled fight between two really good fighters. Were you impressed with Alvarez's performance, Rachel?
I was, like you said, like early on, I always enjoy Canelo's defense. So his head movement when he moves his head out of the way is very Matrix-like.
Yeah.
And I remember when he first took on that skill.
The first time we saw it was against Austin Trout.
Yeah. And yeah, so I really enjoy that. But like you're right, I don't know, but he didn't have to. It seemed like Canelo didn't, and he certainly he was the champ, he was the A side. He didn't have to leave it all in the ring unless it came down to it that he needed to.
Yeah.
Somebody who needed to leave it all in the ring
was Daniel Jacobs.
Yeah. And he did not do that. And that's why I woke up Sunday morning grateful that I didn't pay $70 because this fight, I didn't think it was what it could have been. And it needed Danny Jacobs to leave it all in the ring, and he didn't. You want to see guys take risk. Like, Canelo didn't have to take a risk. This was his championship. If he's running the fight, he's winning the fight.
He was also winning, so he didn't need to take risk to win because he was winning the fight.
Right. Whereas Danny Jacobs, it's the onus is on him to take the risk. You're the challenger. You're coming in here. This was your opportunity.
Yeah. I feel like a couple things. First of all, you know that I don't watch the promotional assets. And what I mean by that are 24/7, or DAZN's version is 40 days. Mm-hmm. I don't watch them because I know that they're intended for me to think the fight's going to be closer than it is. Yeah. So I don't watch it because it doesn't help me be a better writer or make better picks for gambling.com, bookies.com, etc. But what I did see from the pre-fight weigh-in and even before the fight, remember I said Danny Jacobs has too much emotion going into this fight. You could see him with emotion, and the fighter's doing that. To me, the story of that was, he knows how big a fight this is, but I also don't think he really thinks he can win. Mm-hmm. Because how many times have you seen the most elite fighters with that kind of emotion before a fight? It doesn't happen.
Right.
Manny Pacquiao's a great example. He comes in the ring smiling or bopping around. They're relaxed. That's what makes a great fighter, is how relaxed they are, not a lot of emotion. So I was worried about that going into the fight, and I thought that it proved itself over the course of the fight in that, you're right. I thought that Jacobs got in the ring. I'm not saying that he didn't intend to win the fight, but I'm saying that when it became clear that he would have to take a lot of risks to get the better of exchanges, he wasn't willing to do that. And I think because deep down he knew that he couldn't beat Canelo Alvarez, and it was affirmed to him during the first 6 rounds. Mm-hmm. He did come on stronger in the second half of the fight, but to me that was more of, when Canelo wanted to turn it on, he could turn it on at any moment and separate himself from Daniel Jacobs.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed in that. At the same time, I was astounded at how really great Canelo Alvarez is at middleweight. Remember, he moved up to middleweight from junior middleweight. And I'm just really excited to see how and what Canelo does from here. He looks really excellent. He's only 28 years old. I saw somebody tweet out his opponent list at 28 years old. And they were like, how can this guy basically not be #1 pound for pound if you look at his resume? And I was like, hold up. So I Googled Terrence Crawford, because TC's my boy, and that's the guy that's #1 to me. I looked at Terrence Crawford's resume and I was like, I know that Crawford's resume is better than Lomachenko's, right? just in name value alone and longevity. But yeah, Canelo has the better names on his resume. He's fought such really good opponents, and he looks so great. And he's only 28. Rachel, are you excited to see what Viva Canelo does next?
I am. It can be frustrating when people look at pound for pound list and because
they're not real.
Yeah, like they're not real. So it's just based like. So remember when Lomachenko was like on the top of pound for pound list,
He
and
still is on some of them.
He hadn't fought.
But yeah, he hadn't done anything yet. That was frustrating.
Pro.
Yeah.
And that's because
he was like 4-1.
I can create a pound for pound list, and I can go out to like a local gym here and be like, well, that guy's going to be amazing. I'm putting him one on my pound for pound because I think that like you can literally do that. So that's just the thing with pound for pound list. I think what happens is people get accustomed to fighters. Yeah. So Canelo's been around, he's fought a lot, and it's almost like people don't really think. You know what
Canelo,
I mean?
Yeah, they're always looking for like,
they're like, oh,
what's
it's
the
Canelo.
Smart angle. What's the smart angle?
Yeah, and the desire to be like smart or cool or the best or I've got this. Oh, look what I like discovered, and I'm gonna be awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're the person that puts Canelo atop your pound for pound list, that's not as exciting, you know?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it's also like you said, a lot of people that make a pound for pound list want to put a guy at number 1 or number 2 up really high. The other guys don't rank high, and they want that guy to go prove it so that they look smart in history. Mm-hmm. When the reality is, nobody remembers that you did that. Nobody cares. I think that the only legitimate way to make a pound for pound list is to put who has the most criteria should be around. Who have you beaten, right? What have you done? What's on your resume? And I think from that perspective that Canelo Alvarez has a really strong case for being number 1.
Yeah.
The only guy that really matches up to him at all is, like I said, is Terence Crawford. And it's mostly around the historical accomplishments of Terence Crawford over the people that he's fought. He's fought a bunch of good people too. But Crawford has been lineal champion at lightweight, lineal and undisputed champion at junior welterweight, and now holds a welterweight title belt where Canelo has been junior middleweight title holder and lineal middleweight champion. Now let's say Canelo goes on, he wants to possibly become undisputed at middleweight. That's an exciting, big historical thing. I don't have to vote in pound for pound list anymore, so I'm glad I don't have that decision. Rachel, do you have to do that?
No, I don't.
You don't want to do that?
No, I do not want to do that. I do not like pound for pound lists. Like, I think they're fine as a hobby. I think they are taken way too seriously.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was, but I heard a fighter who's like, it was their goal to be number 1 pound for pound. And I think that is utterly ridiculous because it's not real.
Yeah.
And there's not a set criteria. Say you want to make pound for pound a set criteria.
Yeah.
Like then do that. Have Ring Magazine or TBRB like create a set criteria and be like, this is how pound for pound lists are decided, just like you do for weight class champions or what have you.
Yeah.
Then it would be something more credible. But this is just based on people's like opinions and like low level opinions. Like, you know, there's some opinions that have like a lot of fact that get thrown into them. These are not that.
Yeah.
Like it's just so I find it really frustrating. And when I heard that fighter say that, I was like, your goal should not be that. Like, I don't know what your goal needs to be, but it's not that. Like,
well, we have a goal, Rachel, and that's to be,
you want to be number 1 pound for pound YouTube.
That's right. We don't.
There's no criteria.
Criteria for that. So you know what? We think we're already pretty high, but you can help us achieve the number 1 spot.
Oh wait, can we just crown ourselves number 1?
Liking, comment, and subscribing. Well, yeah, we're
based on our potential, guys.
We're the goats. We're the goats.
Look how smart and cool you'll be when you pick us.
Yeah.
And help make us number 1 pound for pound.
That's a good angle for you. You can say, this is number 1 pound for pound best boxing YouTube show. Best YouTube show about anything. You can get us on the upswing and on the way up in the rankings. And
you can take a screenshot like of your screen right now with like that you subscribe to our channel with like a timestamp somewhere. And there you go. You'll have proof of how awesome you are.
We appreciate you guys, and we're really glad you watched. Thanks for mama, and then you can number the room. Those aren't words. You got finish it up, Rach.
Thanks for watching.
Adios.